So many of us every day walk out the front door of our house to go out in the big wide world. And back in the days when we used to go to studios, it meant even more because now you walk down the hall into your room not knowing where you're going. But we leave without a real specific purpose. And really what the bottom line really comes down to is every day you have to have a vision for your future. You have to have something in mind that we're a destination you wish to arrive at. Because without that, all you're doing is just wandering. And there's nothing wrong with that if that's what you want to do. But if you have specific things you want to achieve, you have to set the goals. Some people go with the scattergun approach. They just kind of try to hit everything all at once. What you need is a sniper's point of view.
Life gets tough, and I know it's hard to cope with the unknown. For all of us, I know it'd be easy if we were perfect, but we're not. So we go to find our faith, to find our hope. It all begins with looking up. It all begins with you. It's time to elevate. We sing it loud and proud. We make our voices known. Nothing can shut them out. Elevate.
Welcome back to Time to Elevate podcast. I'm your host, Ann Lucente. And if this is your first time tuning in, you've just stumbled into our cozy little corner of the internet where we lift each other up, cheer each other on, and believe in divine timing and good people. So welcome to the family. Once again, the VO Academy has given me yet another gift. I've said it before and I'll keep saying it. Joining that community last year brought me more than I could have ever imagined. And today's guest is one of the best examples of that. He was chosen as the mentor of the month in our group. And let me tell you, he didn't just wear the title, he showed up. He joined our script workouts all month long and brought an energy and generosity that you could feel even through a screen. I didn't know much about him, but everyone in the group was already singing his praises, and once we connected, I got it. He just has this way about him, warm, grounded, inspiring, and very funny. And I have to give a big thanks and a shout out to my friend Mel Rose for suggesting he'd be a perfect guest for Time to Elevate. So when he sent me his bio, I was blown away. He's been a working voiceover talent for nearly 4 decades, and you've definitely heard his voice, whether you knew it or not, because I certainly did not realize that I've heard it before. His talents have been featured in commercials for Bank of America, Butterball, Clorox, Excedrin, GMC Truck, Dole, LL Bean, the Oregon and North Carolina Lotteries, Cancer Treatment Centers of America, Kroger, the National Association of Realtors, and Southwest Airlines, plus countless spots for the Armed Forces Radio. He brought to life hundreds of character voices for Disney, Hanna-Barbera, and Warner Brothers' beloved shows, including some of my favorites, Smurfs, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Winnie the Pooh, DuckTales, and Captain Planet. And then add in over 15 characters for Blizzard's World of Warcraft, plus roles in major titles like X-Men, James Bond, GoldenEye 2, Enter the Matrix, and several others he can't even name because of NDAs. Yeah, it's safe to say that this man has range. He was the live announcer for Last Comic Standing for 8 seasons, narrated true Hollywood stories for E!, and was handpicked to voice NASCAR's 75th anniversary videos. For over 25 years, he's also been the voice behind U.S. military training, and he sincerely apologizes to any active or retired veterans for the number of times they've had to hear his voice. And a fun fact, he doesn't just play people. He's also barks like a dog in commercials for Citibank, Carl's Jr., and Toyota, and he voiced every dog in SimCity's Pet Expansion Pack. He's also, I'm not done yet, he's also a producer, a director, a stand-up comic, and most importantly, a fabulous margarita master. And he somehow does all this with a smile. But what makes him feel like the luckiest man on the planet? His incredible family and the voiceover career he's built doing what he loves. With a resume like that and a heart to match, it is my absolute honor to welcome voiceover talent, producer, director, commercial and animation writer, and my new friend, Nick Omana.
Thank you so much, Ann. I really appreciate that one. I guess we're done because I can't top that. Thank you so much. It's been nice.
You are done in just that intro, just your bio. I read that and I was like, I'm sorry, I just can't leave any of that out, Nick. I just can't.
No,
Oh my
I have
God.
lived a charmed existence.
Oh my
I must say, I've gotten up every day for the last 40 years to do something I absolutely love to do. I have been just wonderfully blessed to have so many wonderful people in my life, whether it's agents or other talent or producers or whoever. Um, this really is by far the best gig in the world, as far as I'm concerned, because, when I told my dad what I was trying to get started doing many years ago, he says, "So what is that?" I said, "Well, basically, I guess I talk." And he goes, "Oh, great. Well, ever since we taught you how to speak, we couldn't get you to shut up. So you'll do just fine." So,
I like that. That's perfect. That's perfect. So you say,
and I
thanks,
guess he
Dad.
was right. It's mid fine. Yeah.
Oh my God, I love it. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited about this. Um,
Thank
um,
you for inviting me. It's quite an honor and a pleasure. And I thank you.
Oh, this is wonderful. And we first met, as I said, the VO Academy, which was wonderful. And I didn't know you. I've heard your name because people talk about you all the time, Nick. And and I was like, all
Shh.
right. Yeah, so I'm like
Who?
that. So that's how we met. Yeah, I know. You don't tell. We won't tell all the secrets, but we can edit those out if we happen to slip and drop those out. But what Corey does, Corey Rhymes, is he does an interview with the mentor of the month, which is excellent. I love that because you get to meet the person, learn more about them, and you give these great tips and these great advice. Before we start, are you okay with
Yes.
picking an angel card? Are you good with an angel card?
Sure.
It's one word. It will be your one word. Everybody gets a word, and then then I take it out of the pack, so nobody's gotten that. And what I'll do is they're a little bit.
Make sure it's a good one because I'm going to have it tattooed on my forehead. I just
I
okay,
feel
maybe stenciled with henna. I'm not sure.
either one. I think that'd be great. But they're little baby cards. Can you see them? I don't know if you can see them.
Oh,
They're little baby
how
cards.
cute.
So I'm gonna just go like this, right? And then when you're ready, I'll just stop and kind of pick up, and we'll see what it is. All right. So you tell me stop when you're ready to stop.
Stop.
Oh, you're so quick! You so scared me. It's gonna be this top card.
Sorry.
Let's see if it's. Ooh,
Cards everywhere.
this is excellent. I don't know if you can see this through there, but can you see it?
No. Oh, vision.
Yes.
Obviously, I have none because I couldn't read it, right?
I love it. Vision. That is so great, Nick. That's like a great word. So does it mean anything to you than the obvious, obviously?
It means a lot. It means a lot. It's something that I completely, that could not have been a better word for me to talk about because so many of us every day walk out the front door of our house to go out in the big wide world. And back in the days when we used to go to studios, it meant even more because now you walk down the hall into your room, not knowing where you're going. But we leave without a real specific purpose. And really what the bottom line really comes down to is every day you have to have a vision for your future. You have to have something in mind that where a destination you wish to arrive at. Because without that, all you're doing is just wandering.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that if that's what you want to do. But if you have specific things you want to achieve, you have to set the goals. You have to be, some people go with the scattergun approach. They just kind of try and hit everything all at once. And close range, that can be good, I guess. But most things, the things you want are a little further out. What you need is a sniper's point of view. You need to be able to hone in on that one thing and just, boom, there it is. Got it. So that's the real point of and how this is. What a great word for you to have picked. Thank you.
You picked it.
And I swear that was not picked. That was not staged at all.
We did not
But
stage
no, it's just,
this,
it really
promise.
is. But it just, it plays so well into what I believe. And I think, it's funny enough, I actually have something here that I wanted to read from a little bit later as far as that it pertains to that very much.
Wow.
So, boy, you're psychic.
That was, I know.
I've been told on more than one occasion I'm telepathic, but that's a whole different.
I love it. Oh my gosh. I'm not going to get through the interview. You know that, right?
That was not my plan necessarily. I just, the more she laughs, the less questions she asks. I don't
Hey,
have to answer anything.
I don't know. I got a list. I'm organized, so I can go back to my
All
list. So I want to start with you first before we get into your story. I want to about you. Who's Nick? So where did you grow up? Where do you live now?
I was born in Salt Lake City, Utah.
Okay.
Not being Mormon at 6, we were told to leave.
Oh,
No, no, I have to say, it was a great place to grow up.
yeah.
And I had some wonderful experiences and memories of being a kid growing up in Salt Lake. And one of the things, funny enough, was when winter rolled around, my brother and I, he's 4 years older than I am, we would go into my dad's office. He had a little office, and he worked out of, in a store, but he had a little home office, and he had a recorder in there.
Mhm.
And my brother and I would go in and we would record these little radio plays where we'd do all the sound effects and the voices, and then we'd listen back and giggle and laugh. I had no idea you could actually do that for a living.
Yes.
I was 4 years old at the time.
Oh
We
my
had so
gosh.
much fun.
Oh my gosh.
But then years later, we moved to eventually from Salt Lake to Sacramento, where my sister was born, and then San Francisco, and then eventually LA.
Right.
So I've been in LA since 1965.
Okay. Okay.
That I'm an old fart.
You've been there. You see a lot of
But
changes.
so many you have no idea.
Oh my
But
gosh.
it's always kind of been home because I've done most of my, growing up in this town. And I got into radio when I was in my late teens, early 20s, and I didn't think about it. I love the idea of it. And when I trained for it, I actually trained at the KISS Broadcast Workshop, which was right there in the Playboy building on Sunset Boulevard, Sunset
Really?
Plaza.
Yeah.
They're on the 9th floor. The Playboy Studios West were on the 8th floor.
Oh gosh.
And so you'd be riding up in elevators with Playboy model wannabes. It's like 19 years old. It's like,
Oh
can
my
I get out of
God.
here, please? But our sessions, when we worked our on-air sessions and our training sessions, we had these big floor-to-ceiling plate glass windows facing out over the entire LA basin, and you could see planes coming in
Wow.
from off in the Riverside, Glendale area toward LAX out by the beach, and you see this beautiful panorama.
Wow.
So in my training, that's what I got used to. I thought, oh, this is great, playing my
Right.
music. Then I got into the reality of getting a job, and I didn't want to leave LA to work my way back to LA. So I got into a very small station out in Camarillo. It was a top 40 format. My office or my studio was probably 7 by 7, maybe 8 by 8 feet. I had 2 turntables, 2 cart machines, a microphone, a clock, a telephone, and a small window in the door. And the only time you ever saw a face in that window was when the boss was going.
Oh.
So it means at the end of your shift, you're about to get fired or have something happen to you don't want to have happen. So I could not get out of there fast enough because I heard the same song 7 times a night. And I had the midnight to 6 a.m. shift because I was low man on the totem pole.
How do you stay
And it's
awake?
like, that's with my circadian rhythm. Oh. I have no resistance to sleep. How I managed for 3 months not to fall asleep on air, I don't know.
I
Which
don't
is probably
either.
the fear.
Yeah, fear of that face in the window. You're
Adrenaline
like, oh
going
my
through you.
God.
That's right. So I only saw that one last time, and I was glad never to see it again.
Oh my
But no,
gosh.
so
Oh my gosh.
but funny enough, years later, a few years later, a friend of mine, Jeff Rogers, who really great ad man and marketing guy, he got a job at Wells Rich Green Advertising in Century City. And within 3 months, he took a job in the mailroom.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I don't care. I graduated USC with a degree. What do you have available? We have one spot in the mailroom. Take it. He would go in and he would be at work at 6 a.m. every morning.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't doing it until 8.
Oh.
But he got there at 6. He would have everybody's mail distributed out on their desks. Mary Wells, who was one of the principals, he had her business mail opened and out for her on her desk, her personal mail unopened out on her desk.
Mm-hmm.
And after a few weeks, she said, who is this kid? So Jeff ends up getting an interview with Mary Wells in her office. She said, I need to meet this kid. I need to find out. Within 3 months, he was handling Braniff Airlines Max Factor, Bugle Boy Jeans, and one other major campaign. And so he took off like a really brilliant guy and a really hard worker. And so one evening we were out to dinner. He and I roomed together the year after college. And one evening we got together for dinner, and he said, "Hey, I know you like doing this commercial stuff from when you did radio. Why don't you talk to some of these agents I work with and find out how to get started in doing voiceover?" I said, "Well, yeah, I think I could do that." So I got hold of, funny enough, Lee Gilbert and Vanessa Gilbert, not related at all.
Okay. Oh, that's
But
funny.
they both said the same thing. It's, yeah, get in, take some workshops, learn how to do this, put together a demo. If we hear something we can work with, we'll talk. And so I started taking classes with Lee Gilbert. She's a phenomenal director. She was an agency producer at Gardner Advertising at the time, then became an agent at SBV. And after several workshop series with her, she referred me over to Tom Pinto.
Oh,
And Tom is basically the person who is most responsible for, I mean, Lee gave me some great foundational stuff. Tom is the one who carried it across the goal line for me. He has always been one of the most giving people I know, extremely knowledgeable. But the old saying goes, those that do, those that can do, those that can't teach. Tom is completely the antithesis of that saying. He not only does, he teaches exceptionally well. And he trained me for 2 years working with him. I ended up becoming his demo producer at Voice Tracks West. And during the 7 years I worked with him, the first 2 years, he trained me. He had me co-teach classes with him, and then eventually handed the reins over to me on teaching classes. And that's where I kind of learned my directorial style, basically the foundational stuff that I teach. I would love to say, oh, came from this brain trust. No, I stole it. Come on, let's be
I like
honest.
hearing that because I thought it all came naturally to you, and I'm like, I'm never doing this. It's never happening.
Oh, no, you can steal. You can steal.
I'm stealing. So wait, now what year was this that you met Tom? Like around what year were you
That was
in here?
1980. Well, let's see, 1982, 83 was when I was
Wow.
taking workshops and working with coaches, Tom and Lee in particular. And then
Okay.
84 is when I threw my hat in the ring.
Wow.
And I started, by 85, I had a good representation. Mary Lynn Wisner, of all people, was my very first agent. She was
Oh,
at Commercials
wow.
Unlimited. And then
Oh,
she got
that's so
out of the
cool.
business as an agent and went into the production side with family businesses, and then
Mhm.
came back out of that and started up her casting. And
Wow.
she's always been one of those people. I admire her for so
Mhm.
many reasons. I mean, she's just, again, one of the things I love about this business, it is populated by some of the most real, genuine, honest to
Yes.
goodness, down to earth people you will ever meet.
Yes,
And I
agreed.
love that.
Agreed. Yes, I love that too. I have to say the voiceover business is probably, like you said, it's probably the only business I could say that everyone I have met is just wonderful. Really. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just they're so giving and for nothing. You know what I mean? Like for nothing. People would just want to help you. So it's
Oh,
great.
they
That's
they
really
they give
amazing.
without expectation, and that's the
Mhm.
thing. But that, you know what? That's what builds a community. That's what
Right.
builds trust. That's what builds a good life for everyone.
Right.
Right now we seem to be beset with people who believe there has to be a winner and a loser.
Right.
And I don't want to
Right.
go back to the old cliche of a win-win-win or win-win-win-win-win. And no, but
Yes.
when everybody is doing well,
Mhm.
everybody's doing well.
Yes. I
But
agree.
there is nothing more dangerous than a person who has nothing to lose,
Mm. Right.
because they got nothing to lose. They'll do whatever. And I think that's
Right.
part of the problem in
That's
the
true.
industry right now is there's so many people that are relying on pay to play sites or
Right.
taking non-union jobs and not knowing their worth in the business.
Mhm.
They're selling themselves short because,
Right.
trust me, nobody's going to pay you more than they have to.
Right.
But
True.
it's our job to tell them what we're worth.
Right.
It's just like in a relationship.
Right.
Your
Yeah.
partner will teach you however you wish you allow them to treat you. But if you
Exactly.
lay the groundwork and they know that there are going to be repercussions for things that they cross the line on, it's like,
Mhm.
nope, nope.
Right.
But I also
Right.
know people that have, a polyamorous, relationship, and it works perfectly well for them. You know why?
Right.
Everybody knows what's going on. There's no
Yes.
hidden agenda. Nobody's hiding anything from it. It's all out in the open. So anything is negotiable,
Mhm.
but you just have to be honest and true. That's all.
Right. Right. And you have to be willing to walk away from things, which I think is difficult sometimes, right? Because especially if you're building or even not building, when you're working and you're like, okay, I need some more work or I need whatever. You got to be willing to be like,
Yeah.
I think your gut tells you, are you willing to take whatever, or or are you not willing to,
Yeah.
because you know where you're worth. But yeah, that's really good advice.
Yeah.
I had also heard you say when you were talking about doing this for a living, something, I'm going to paraphrase what you said, something to the effect of, making a living doing something that you enjoy was like a thought, like, oh wow, I can actually make a living doing something I really enjoy. And I think that not only nowadays, but always, people don't always think that's possible. Like, I know so many people in my life that are miserable at what they're doing. And I'm like, well, do something else. Like, you're never stuck no
I
matter
can't. I'm getting
where.
paid too much to do this.
Right, right, and I'll just be miserable, but, never be stuck, really. That's one thing I tell my kids
Yeah.
always. I'm like, "You're never stuck." I mean, do it the right way, do it professionally, right? Leave a place professionally, whatever, but you're never stuck. I mean, that's the worst case scenario, to be stuck like that.
Take a moment to step off the hamster wheel and take a breath and think for a moment and just decide. The hardest thing for people to do is, and I ask this question all the time, what do you want? What do you want? Most people go, well, blah, 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 blah," and it's like, no, no, no. What do you want at the core of your being? What would make you happy? And a lot of people, boy, they struggle with finding out what that is because there's so much noise. The first thing, well, I can't say that because I couldn't make a living at that. It's like, well, hold on. We have a tendency, what you focus on will be your outcome. And if you focus on scarcity, I'm not getting enough work. I'm not making enough money. I'm not, I whatever you focus on, that will be your reality. But if you say, I get up every day to do something I love, guess what happens? You get up every day to do something you love. And funny enough, the money will follow because people know what it is that you do. They know what you stand for. They know what you deliver. And they come to you gladly, knowing that you're going to take care of their problem. And that's really what the hardest thing for us as talent to get out there is to build those relationships with the vendors. And most people go, well, what are you talking about? I mean, agents get you auditions. And yeah, but if you're going to wait for an agent to build your career, boy, you're going to wait a long time. You might get lucky and it might take off like a rocket, and that's great. Cinderella stories happen all the time, but there's a reason why they're called Cinderella stories. They don't
Mhm.
happen all the time.
Right. That's so true. Nick, all these good nuggets. Oh my goodness. You're
Yeah,
gonna be
and I
here
could
for
never get the darn shoe to fit. So I had bunions for months. Oh my God.
But you tried. That's the whole thing. You gave
You got to try. You got to try.
you gotta try, you gotta try.
This is
So,
coming at triple E. No.
oh my goodness. So you mentioned, I just go back one quick second. You mentioned that you're so thankful for your family. I just wanted to say, like, you have grandchildren, right? Children, grandchildren. You want to
I
give them a
do.
shout out before we get moving
I
more on your
will. I will. No, I've got, I've had several, well, I would say marriages and
Uh-huh.
long-term
Okay.
relationships, and so many I've had to number my ex-wives. But, um,
I
but
love it.
I have one daughter that is biologically mine.
Mhm.
And then I have several other children that came along with the
Oh,
relationships, and they're all
nice.
still mine.
Yes.
I mean, that's
Yes.
what I signed on for. They're my kids, no matter how you
Yes.
look at it.
Exactly.
And our daughter just had a little girl last year. She actually turned 11 months old day before yesterday.
Oh, yay.
And
Oh.
she started walking last
What?
Sunday.
What?
Yeah,
That's
her parents. Yeah,
quick.
both. Oh, she's she's just like her mom. That, oh, I hope you have a child just like you, that
Yes, yes.
revenge. She's got her. No,
I
but she's such
love
a
it.
wonderful little kid.
I
She's
love
so
it.
cute and so much fun until she's not, and then you hand her back.
And
No,
that's right.
but
That's the best thing, right? I don't have grandchildren yet, but I know that I've heard that that's the best thing. You're like, "Okay, bye-bye."
oh, but she really is. She does have a wonderful disposition, and she
Wow.
was so funny because both parents were home to see her take her first step, which was really, really
Oh,
cool.
that's really
And
nice.
they were filming on top of it, and they called us on FaceTime, so we got to watch her do that.
Oh.
And she was just so absolutely elated that she was able, she was coming toward grandma and grandpa on the phone. It's like, big smile and laughing, and just, it
Yeah.
doesn't get much better than that. That's what we do all this for.
Right. No, true.
is,
So true.
I don't work for the sake of working. I love what I get to do.
Mm-hmm.
And my longtime agent and friend, Linda McCarroll, will tell you if it wasn't for me, he'd do it for free. Maybe. Well, okay. Sometimes I might. But I mean, we work hard so that we can enjoy time with our family and friends.
Right.
And
Exactly.
also, and I'm going to throw this in on top of all that, find time to make the world a little bit better for everyone else.
Right. Yes. Mm-hmm.
That is our obligation. I don't think we were put here to suffer
Right.
and be miserable, but I also don't believe we were put here just to amass everything we can for ourselves and not worry about everybody else.
Yes.
Because, there are some people, if I can do something, and I think, again, if everybody's doing well, everybody's doing well.
Yeah.
That's all.
No, I agree. I agree. I think that that's so true. And being kind to people, it doesn't take much to be kind, and it creates that whole dynamic for everyone. It just expands, which is great. And
Yeah.
that brings stuff back to you, there's so many times
Oh,
where I'm like, where did that come from? Like you're feeling like, oh my God, what's happening? And all of a sudden there it is. It
yeah.
just comes around. I love that. So, I want to say you, so 40 years, is it 40 years? Almost 40 years you're in the business.
It's
Probably a little,
1984, so
uh,
41,
wow,
making my
40.
living at it the last 40. Yeah.
That is so
Yeah.
amazing. Oh my God. So you've seen the
Yeah, I didn't think
industry.
I'd live that long either.
I can only imagine because I know we're not going to hear all those stories of your life, but I can just imagine that you're living life to the fullest.
I want to come back here in 20 years to do another elevate. No.
Yes, I'll be here. I'll be here waiting for you.
It's time to elevate at that point. Might have a whole other meeting.
It might.
I'll see you later.
I'll meet you up there.
Oh, you have high hopes for me. I was going to say I'll catch you down below. But
I'll meet you
anyway.
on my way up there. Now I'm really hoping. I hear you only have to say, I'm sorry. I swear, I'm sorry for everything.
There you go. There you go.
That's it.
I didn't know what I was doing.
That's it. Jesus is very forgiving.
Yeah, thank goodness. I was going to say thank God, but yeah, I'll thank him when I get there.
Yes, that's right. That's right. I want to make sure you're taking me. So, so the industry has changed, I'm sure, a lot. Is there anything like that you could just say, like the biggest shift that you think, I mean, might be since when you started to now?
The biggest thing, one of the reasons I never really moved out of LA was because the business was here. It was either that or New York, maybe Chicago, possibly Atlanta. But it was for the stuff that I did, especially the gaming and animation stuff, they really want you in studio. And I had an ISDN line for many years.
Oh, yeah.
Had one at home, and it was not cheap, but it was worth it.
Right.
If you need good tools, you have to spend the money to have good tools.
True.
And so the one thing that has changed, I mean, when I got into the business, we went to our agent's office to audition.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought I could audition from anywhere but my agent's office or going out to a casting house. And then I opened up my brick and mortar in 1991 is when Nova Productions officially came into being.
Mm-hmm.
And my agents knew I was busy and they would say, well, you know what? If you want, and this was years later, they didn't offer that until probably after the turn of the century.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's how I can sound really old. I remember back at the turn of the century. So, wow, that just felt so, no.
I love that.
But, prior to 2000, most everything was done in person.
Mm-hmm.
And they still wanted you in person at the studios. It wasn't until COVID that changed. I was really busy. And prior to COVID, I had been working from home for about 12 years.
Okay.
I had my brick and mortar. They raised the rent, and I was spending $10,000 to $12,000 a month just to be there.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money to have to generate just to break even.
Yeah.
And so I thought, you know what? I'm going to show you. And they even said, "Oh, like you're going to close down your studio?" I said, "You know what? Yes, I am. You made a very difficult decision, very easy." And out I went. By the time I got back to my office, I had 2 phone calls from the manager saying, "Please come back down. Let's talk." I said, "No, I appreciate it, but I know you're just going to try and change my mind, and I don't want to change it now."
Mm-hmm.
So I moved it all home. Set up my ISDN lines there, did tons of work from home. I probably did as much work from home, almost. I mean, obviously, there was still going out to studios from time to time, as I did before we hit COVID. And the weird thing about COVID is when COVID hit, only about 10% of the working talent had broadcast quality studios at home.
Right, right.
So in a day, 90% of my competition fell away.
Exactly.
I worked for 2.5 years, 7 days a week.
Wow.
It was crazy.
That's amazing.
I was doing
oh my gosh.
3 and 4 jobs a day.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And
That's wild.
And my DoD stuff, first year, we more than tripled the amount of projects we did. The second year in COVID, we doubled that. Oh, more than doubled that. Yeah, we went almost quadruple.
Wow.
What we quintuple what we did before. Yeah. So it was amazing. It was just a geometric scale, but it was wonderful, but it was exhausting.
Yeah.
And I was glad when people started getting their own home studios that I could back off a little bit.
Yeah.
But that's also, it just, with freelance, you make hay while the sun shines. You don't know when it's going to happen.
It's true.
Everything changes. At some point, whatever job you have, I mean, DoD, we're now entering our 29th year come October, and it'll change. I mean, it's changed a little bit this last year because of the change in what's going on back in DC. Everybody has no idea what's going on budget-wise and this and that. Everybody's being very cautious. Now, suddenly things are beginning to break loose again, and I'm happy, happy that I'm hearing, we got this, and this. And okay, good.
Be careful what you wish for, right?
Yes. But I still wish for it. I can muster through that. But
that's so great.
So there are things that have changed in the industry. And I think the biggest negative in what has happened, because the idea of being able to work from home is phenomenal, because now you can cast the net wide.
Right.
The problem being that everybody who could grab a mic, soundproof a corner of their home, and read copy thinks that they're, a voice talent. And some of them are good. Some of them not so good. And some of the good ones don't know how good they are, and they're giving away their talent for horrible contract prices. I've been in the union since 1984. I joined the minute I was ready to compete. And it had served me well. When you work a union contract, all those dollar amounts are figured out. You don't get these crazy contracts that are layered with all kinds of stuff. We're going to give you, we have 6 spots we're going to record, but we're going to record for 2 hours or 3. Somebody had a 5-hour session that was going to be broken out into 2.5-hour sessions.
Oh my gosh.
It's like,
wow.
What are you going to do with it? You're not going to record 40 takes of each spot. What they're going to do is throw in other stuff that they could cut together, because they get all cut downs from the record session, which means they're going to make new spots out of all this random stuff. It's almost like they're kind of using you the way they would AI. They have all these words, word salad that they're just going to mix into a new dish. Like, no, you don't get to do that. But people are allowing that by granting them access and taking the money. And once you sign a contract, try to get out of it without spending a lot of your own money to get out of it. They've got it nailed down. They'll paper you to death. They'll make it impossible for you to get anything back out of it. So just don't sign. And people also don't know you can line item out something on a contract.
Exactly.
And I've done that. Yeah. You say, I do not agree to this term. You line through it, you sign it and date it, and you hand it back. And I actually had a payroll guy call me and said, I see you've marked something out on the contract. I said, yeah. He said, well, I can't pay you. I said, why not? Well, because you didn't agree to the terms of the contract. I said, no, your producer took the contract after I lined that out and signed it.
Right.
They saw it. If they put it through, that's not my fault.
Exactly.
So what's the problem? And he had no answer, and I got my check 3 days later.
Yeah.
So
it's true. Yeah. Once they sign
they don't
it,
expect talent to know business. That's the problem.
True.
And a lot of them don't.
And it's confusing. I will say that, but you have to reach out to people who know and can help you, because it is. You look at this and you're like, oh my God, I don't even know what this is saying right now, you know?
I took business law in college, and I had the highest grade in 5 sections of business law. I didn't go into law for one reason.
Why?
I didn't like reading. And what do I do for
Oh,
a living? It's like, oh
yes.
my God.
Yes.
You ever think God doesn't have a sense of humor? Just saying. Just saying.
No, not you. Now
So
you said, and you don't mind sharing, I think you said you're dyslexic, correct? Or did
I
you
am.
say
I'm
that?
mildly
Is that true?
dyslexic.
Which is
It is
very
true.
inspiring because you're so good at what you do, and it's like sometimes people will give an out to themselves saying, well, I can't do this because of this, or whatever the case may be. But there's always ways around things, and ways, the harder you try, you can do things. It's so important to know that,
Yes.
not to just give that
And
up.
I have to attribute part of that. I will say, when I was a little kid, man, second grade reading circle was just terrifying to
Yeah,
me
yes.
because I always knew I was going to mess it up. And it's like, oh my God. And I always thought I was just dumb.
No.
And that's the problem with a lot of people who don't get the proper diagnosis. I mean, I didn't know about dyslexia until I was in my late teens, about ready to
Mm-hmm.
go off to college. And
Right.
it's like, wow, that would have been helpful to know.
Right.
For those of you that do have a problem with dyslexia, there are some things that you can try. I don't know if they're going to be the absolute cure, or if it will help, but it can. Try laying a clear gel over your page, kind of like anytime I highlight in a very bright fluorescent yellow. The reason for dyslexia in some cases is we are missing certain color receptors in our optic nerves, or
Okay.
they're not as proficient as the others.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of makes for a little bit of almost like a foggy focus, which is why
Okay.
we end up flipping words and doing things. We see something with one part of our eye or our ocular, vision field, but we don't see all of it.
Okay.
So when you lay a gel over something, it helps to calm those down. And some
Oh.
people respond to red, blue, green, or yellow. So try
Wow.
playing around with some of that to see if it helps. Worst case scenario, it doesn't help. Then it could
Mm-hmm.
be a different function as to why you're having the problems. But
Wow.
if it can help, why not?
Oh, that's great. That's a great tip. So when I did listen to you, because I investigated you a little bit, I love when I see something like I can hear a quote, and that quote will carry me through a goal I'm doing. Like, if I hear the right thing at the right time, it could be a one-liner, and I will put it up. Like I used to have up on my boards, it would be like, today is not the day to quit. Okay, but tomorrow I'm quitting, but I'm not going to do it today. Like things like
Yeah,
that.
that's right.
So so I was reading like some of the things that you said, that I heard you say was like, there's some things that you need to have, right? So like not equality. That's not true. Like confidence, right? Knowing that you're good enough, right? That you're good enough
Yep.
for this, And it was that I want you to elaborate on this, but there were three things that you said. Confidence, so you have to have confidence, right? It's not, I like this. It's not about rejection. It's about a selection. It's not about rejection. It's about selection, like that. And
Correct.
consistency, of course, and commitment. Consistency is such like a huge thing. So
Yeah.
if you want to elaborate at all, you can.
Yeah. I think, confidence is it's a muscle that's built.
Mhm.
And when you talk about consistency and commitment, that is how confidence is built, with
Right.
consistent,
True.
committed effort toward doing that. That comes from taking workshops, it comes from reading, it comes from doing jobs, it comes from auditions, it comes from any of a number of sources, listening to other people and emulating what they've done. Don't ever imitate,
Mm.
because if they want that person, they'll get that person. But the style can certainly be emulated
Mhm.
with your own voice and your own sensibilities.
Right.
So be aware of what's going on in the business. Listen to commercials. Don't go zipping past them when you DVR something.
Right,
That's your
right.
bread and butter. Zip
Yeah.
past all the content and go to the commercials.
That's true.
And
That's
for
true.
those of you that don't have access to something like that, you can always go to ispot.tv and look at commercials there. That's what's
Right.
airing right now.
Mhm.
So get an idea of what the competition's doing, get an idea of what the vendors are buying and what the ad agencies are pushing. Things have a tendency to go in cycles and waves. How many times do you see a spot and you go, gosh, it looks just like so and so? Oh,
Yeah.
and that looks just like that one. Every guy that's selling real estate right now, where I'll buy your house, they're all blah, 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 and they're all talking straight to the camera, using lots of hand motion and this and that. It's like somebody told them that's the way you do it. Like,
Right.
no, it's not. It's the
Right.
way that other guy did it. Find your own style,
Right.
but they don't seem to understand that once you start imitating somebody else, you're helping to do two things. And it sounds like a contradiction, but you're helping them build their brand by copying them. You're also helping to dilute the brand by having no specificity to either of your campaigns.
Right. Right. And I love that
So it's
word,
like, oh,
specificity. It's hard to say, but I love
yes.
it.
Especially if you're Sylvester the cat. Specificity.
I love it. It's
Got
true.
my mic all wet.
It's true, though, And you said also have an opinion. I'm like, I have an opinion all the time about everything. Why can't I have an opinion when I get behind the mic? All of a sudden, I'm very calm and quiet. What is that? I don't even know who I am.
We're people pleasers. We want to make sure
I
we're doing what they
but
want.
maybe I am.
Yeah, I think. Well,
We are.
You have some very good, strong opinions of your own, and they should show up in what you do and what you say. And I think people would listen to your opinion. You're taking somebody else's words, and this is something that I would just pass on to you guys. If you're having a hard time connecting with a piece of copy, especially because everything needs to be kind of conversational, take the copy and paraphrase it. Change it into your own words. Get the idea in your head as to what they're saying, because I can't tell you how many times I'll say, oh, great, go ahead and read this piece of copy for me. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, great. Turn the copy over. Tell me the story.
I have no idea.
I don't remember.
Yes,
No,
yes.
I don't want it verbatim. I just want you to tell me the story. What is the gist of it? Because you were worried about the words. You weren't worried about the concept. You weren't worried about what was being said in the message. Always know what the bottom line is to the copy. Then go ahead, flip the page over, and use their words for the guide of the words that you came up with in your own head.
That's a good idea. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that idea. Yeah, that's gonna work. That's gonna work for me.
Because you do. You're. I think sometimes the brighter you are, the better equipped we are to get in our own way. Maybe that's why I'm, so successful. Dumb as a rock.
No, you are not. That's it, though. I like the thought of that, though. I like the thought. That's why, sometimes I'll just read the completely. I'm like, where did that word come from? I don't even know what I'm talking about. I'll just read. It's right there, and I'm not totally reading something else. Like, where's my brain? Right? It's like somewhere else. But that's so true. I heard you say about leaving breaths in and stuff in auditions, and it was like that's always like the challenge. Like, do I leave a breath in? Do I not leave a breath in? And it's like those things. And I heard you say AI doesn't breathe. I'm like, all right, that's true. That's true. I like that. So now I get that in my brain obviously, if it's a large breath, I mean, I'm going to do something about it. But
Yeah, and you need to be intentional with where you do your breathing. There are going to be places where you can take that little breath. If a piece of copy is just wall to wall to wall, and you got to keep the pace going, there's no room for a breath.
Right.
So take your breath intentionally to get through those longer pieces, then go back in and cut it out.
Right.
Cut it out. No.
Cut it out, darn it.
And so, so you know what you're doing, but if it's a piece that you can kind of get through with a very normal pacing and normal breathing, don't cut the breaths out, because producers worry when something comes in too perfect, especially in it's just an audition. They want to hear your interpretive skills. They want to get an idea of what your take is on the copy. But they don't want it perfect, because if they hear it too perfect, they go, oh, how much time did this person spend cutting this together? How many takes does this cut, Frankenstein between? And it's time is money in the studio. If we're going to have to spend 3 times longer with this person, it's going to cost us 3 times more for an inferior read. Ultimately.
Exactly.
Well, I have an exercise I do with people in some of my master classes where I say, okay, I'm going to give you all the same piece of copy that was given to me. I changed one thing in the spec, and it was because they had a factual error in there, which I thank God was old enough to know that it was
Okay.
factually incorrect.
Okay.
Most people didn't. Most people didn't even know what they were referencing. So it's like, okay, so you
Okay.
got nothing to worry about.
Uh,
But I cleaned that up and I said, but other than that, this is exactly what I got.
mhm,
So I want to hear your reads. And it was a TV spot. It was, and I said, just understand TV, you don't want to overtake picture. You want to let the picture be the star.
mhm.
So read your reads accordingly. And then I said, and then when we're all done and everybody's had a chance to do their reads, I'm going to play you the finished spot so you can see how it went from audition
Mhm.
to booking and the final cut. And I always tell them, I said, just don't get on me on this, but just realize when you hear it, you go, he's hardly doing anything. Yeah, that's kind of it.
Right.
When you start
Right.
working when you suddenly start leaning into every word, it's precious. It's like, no,
Yes.
you just sit there
Yes.
and you just kind of get into the moment. And you go, take a look at this. Isn't this great? Wonderful. Blah, blah, blah. As opposed to,
Right.
wow, this is, it's just like
Yes.
anytime in stage acting, if I can see what you're doing, you're not doing it well.
Right. True. Very true. Very
Subtleties
true.
and nuanced reads always win out.
Yes. Absolutely
So
true. That's true because I've done on camera and I realize like the subtle expression, the subtle whatever, you don't realize you're giving your subtle expression. If you're feeling it, you're giving it. You don't have to go
yeah,
over the top with whatever you're doing. So
yeah.
that's pretty. So when you get a script, right? What do? You get a script. What's your process before you actually do the audition?
I actually have, and I've, thanks to Tom Pinto,
Mhm.
in my voiceover workbook, I have a copy breakdown sheet. And
Okay.
it really literally, I'll just go through it very, very briefly, but it's very much the same every single time. It's um, read everything.
Mhm.
I know it sounds silly, but
No,
if
true.
you have a spot where it's a dialogue, if you're one of the dialogue
Mhm.
partners, you need to know what your partner's saying to you so you know how to react.
Right.
If you're the announcer coming in after the dialogue people or before them, you need to know, is it comedic or is it something a little more serious and somber? So then
Mhm.
you have to have the same tone that will match what they're doing.
Right.
So read everything.
Mhm.
If you get a video breakdown, read what the video breakdown is. That's going to give you some really good clues as to what you need to say and how you're going to say it when you're reading the script.
Mhm.
Then in voiceover, you always speak to just one person, not everybody, just one
Right.
person. People like being
Right.
spoken to and not spoken at.
Mm. Yeah.
So engage that person, talk to them. And the person to whom you're speaking will have a huge bearing on what you're going to do
Mhm.
because you'll speak differently to your sainted grandmother than you will to your twerpy little brother, right?
Right.
So know who
Hopefully.
that person is.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, trust me, my grandmother, she was small, but boy, she could smack you hard.
Yeah.
I knew the town 2 towns over, but I did Colorado Springs. But anyway. Whack all the way down there. Manitou, here I come.
That's
No,
great.
but and boy, if she could reach out and get me now, she would, because she never laid a hand on me ever. But it's just sometimes we embellish just a little.
Yeah, yeah,
So
but you knew
anyway,
she could if she wanted to.
oh, if she wanted to, hey, she lived
Yes.
through the occupation in Paris during the war.
Oh,
She
yeah.
was tough. So,
Yep, 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 those grandmothers are tough for sure.
oh,
Yes, yes.
so yeah. So you want to know who you're talking to. Then you have to
Mhm.
decide, who are you in the whole thing. How do I
Mm,
figure into this? Am I the person with the problem? Am I the person with the solution? Is this my baby? Did I develop this? Or am I just really completely, confident that this is really a great thing?
mhm.
Or are you the antagonist? The
Ah.
guy that's been playing Mayhem for Allstate all these years is
Ah,
not
yeah.
Allstate, but boy, he's done just fine being Mayhem.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
sometimes we get to be the antagonist as well. So
right.
find out who you are. Then you have to decide, well, okay, radio or TV. Well, now
Mhm.
that doesn't apply anymore because there's so many different options for how those play out. So is it audio
Right.
only or is it video? And you're the audio to the video. If it's audio only, you have to create an image in the mind of the listener.
Mhm.
So you have to put yourself somewhere. They have to be able to hear you somewhere doing something. You don't, if it's done right, you don't picture somebody standing in a booth behind a copy stand in front of a mic reading. No,
Right.
that's not a good
Right.
read. So, but, or if you don't picture them at all doing anything like that, it's like, that's a horrible read.
That's
Uh,
terrible.
but if you're walking the pit area of the Indianapolis 500 and you're talking about at Champion Spark Plugs, we build the first car that lights up its engine is going to drown you out. So now you have to sound like you're talking over the din of all that noise. At Champion, we built did I just get louder? No. But I pitched my voice in a way that when they mix it, it sounds like I'm talking over the din of all that noise.
Right.
So help the engineer and the producer create the image by kind of thinking a little bit about the post-production and where you need to be for this to happen.
Okay.
TV, on the other hand, you're subordinate to the picture. Picture is king. We're not even second in line. We are third. It's music and sound effects right after picture. And we're not even the side dish. We're just the garnish. And hopefully it's not wilted parsley and a little cherry tomato. So,
Yes.
just saying.
It's true.
But we have to work to the pictures. So, the amount of energy and vocal projection you can use is a direct ratio of the distance from the lens of the camera to the object of the shot. So if it's a small distance, it'll be a small voice. So if you got this platter of rice pilaf and a salmon steak, nice grilled and everything on top of that, you're not going to talk about seafood broilers, new salmon. It's like, whoa, that just totally doesn't work. It's seafood broilers, new salmon steak dinner, just $12.99. You're right on top of it.
Nice.
Whereas if you got a Ford truck going over rough terrain and 4-wheel drive, you can get away with Ford builds tough trucks to take on the toughest jobs because that matches what they're watching on screen. So be aware of that. Then you have to decide, you have to put the person that you're talking to, their reactions. Well, okay, before I do that, we have to come up with pre-life.
Okay.
Which is the acting.
Yes.
The first word on that copy is not the beginning of time. So what led up to this point in time? What is the logical sequence of events that led to this point in time? You will say these words to this person with this attitude. Come up with a list, and it can be as wild as you want because nobody out there is going to know what it is. It's all happening in your head. That wonderful little, space between your ears where anything can happen.
Lots of stuff is packed in there.
Exactly.
So many things happening.
I could just get them to come out and pay rent. Oh my God.
Wouldn't that be great?
So, some of us have. No. And so, so you have to decide, what happened, what gets you there. Because word one, you have to be at full emotional level, whatever it is, whether it's, understated, whether it's angry, whether it's excited and upbeat, whether it's, whatever. Word one, you got to be ready to go.
Right.
Then you have to decide, if you have a spot. Oh, and I forgot one thing way up the very, very beginning. What is the bottom line to the spot? What are they getting at?
Right.
Sometimes all we're doing is selling lettuce at Kroger,
Right.
Which I will tell you was not a bad gig.
I bet that's pretty
They had
good.
26 stores in the chain. So you did the base spot and it was like, it went from $4.75 for the one spot with all the tags and everything. It was about $3,100 a week.
Wow.
So
wow.
yeah.
That's
I'll take that all day long.
I'll take that lettuce. I'll take it. I love
I'm
lettuce.
sorry, take that back. It was $2,100 a week, not $2,100 a week. Yeah.
All right.
I just lost $4,000 a month right there. Oh my God. So
I'll settle.
But yeah,
settle
there you go. I love your willingness to work with the client.
I know.
You're so good. So, but I think, when you decide what the bottom line is, one of the things that I always use an example is, Bank of America. If you're tired of being treated like a number, are you tired of being treated like a number at your bank? Then come to Bank of America, where we give you free ATM service, free checking, and free financial planning. So if you're tired of being treated like a number at your bank, come to Bank of America. Bank of America. We want your business. Bottom line is open an account.
Oh my gosh.
Come to us.
Yeah.
But that also comes back around when you get to the other part, which is you're speaking to a person one-on-one in this conversation, correct? So there is verbal and nonverbal communication between you.
Right.
Put that into the script. Are you tired of being treated like a number at your bank?
Right.
Darn tootin' I am. Then come to Bank of America, where we can. So what it does is it gives you an opportunity to come back at the copy with a renewed sense of purpose that doesn't sound fake or forced or pushed because you're actually reacting to that person.
Right.
Just like you couldn't have done that any better than if I asked you to do that on cue. I just did it. We're in a conversation and we do all the time.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
put that into your script, because that's how you keep the energy buoyed all the way through without making it,
I
getting
like
punchy,
that.
or, you know,
Yes.
it just keeps you engaged through the entire piece. And
Yeah.
then, yeah. And then,
Nice.
where does it transition? That's where your attitudes are going to change.
Mhm.
And, yeah, that's about it.
And
So
that's it.
that's,
And how fast do you think you do this before you actually get and say, "Okay, I'm ready to" whatever, like your breakdown and stuff? Are you
I'll
pretty
probably
quick
read
now?
fairly, but there are times I still refer to that page all the time,
Mhm.
because even though I've made guacamole who knows how many times, how
Yes.
did I forget the cumin?
Yes. Yes.
Like, oh, this doesn't taste right. There you go. So, I will refer to it fairly often. I don't want it to be so rote that I forget or I just do it robotically.
Right.
Um, you want to
Right.
take the time to kind of go through it and make sure you're
Mhm.
doing it right. And, there are times I'll look it over and I won't go step by step by step by step, but I'll just
Mhm.
kind of go, yeah, okay, blah, 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 da, 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 and I'll go through the checklist in my mind fairly quickly, but it's not just, automatic. I do take the
Right.
time to consciously go through it.
And it probably depends on the script too sometimes, right? You might connect to one script better than another, and some might take longer to get that. That's how I get. If I connect, I connect. I'm like, this is great. And when I don't, oh
Yeah.
my God, I'm like
Who
the
wrote this?
worst. I'm like complaining in here. Why am I in here? Get out of here.
Yeah. I want to hear you read this. You make sense of it.
Who wrote this? Who did it? I want to meet this person.
I want a name. I want an address. I want to go there. No, I'm going to start quoting lines out of Untouchables.
I
Anyway.
love it. I love it. Well, this brings me right into the next part. We're doing a character thing. So you've done several characters, and I just want to know,
Yeah.
like, I don't know who you did though, particularly now in some of them. Like, for instance, Winnie the Pooh's like my favorite. Who were you in Winnie the Pooh? What
Oh,
did you do?
I ended up being a dog. I was Killer the Doberman.
You
Yeah.
were. Oh my God. I cannot
Yeah.
believe you did the dog. And you did all the dogs, right? At one time.
Mm, yeah.
And
Or
how is
SimCity 3 Pet Attraction Pack.
that
Yeah. Little dogs,
okay?
big dogs.
Okay, so for the shows like the Smurfs and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and all those kind of, were there any favorites that you liked, like doing the voices? Or I'm sure you had a bunch probably, but
It's so funny because in Smurfs, I was a Hawaiian.
oh,
Yeah.
can you do a
Which,
voice for me or no? Is that kind of
it was all probably more in the writing than it was anything else. It wasn't too
yes,
terribly off of what I was. Um,
right?
there are some characters where one of the things that I am known for doing is being able to talk like I'm underwater. So, every once in a
Oh,
while those things will come out.
that's
But,
great. I was about to say, wait, there's something wrong. There's something wrong with the
the audio's all messed up. Oh no, we have to do it again.
we have to
Okay,
read.
whenever you want to set up a time, we can do that. Yeah.
That's so great.
But, but that's also the thing that allows me to do my dogs. I have
Oh,
no
can you do
boast.
a
I have
dog?
a distended uvula.
Oh.
So yes. Yeah.
So that's pretty
So
good. So you cashed in on that. What
yeah.
can you do
It's what
dog
makes me
or
a
is that
world class snorer, but yeah.
oh,
What do you want? A
that's
big
true.
dog, little dog? Yeah.
I like oh my God, that's
And
really
there's always,
good.
the mouth noises when I come in from a heavy run. It's like
I love
when they walking down the back alley. Yeah, that's the dog you
that's
want to meet.
good.
And then the little ones,
No. They're annoying.
ankle biters. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah. That's
try
very
and kick them off, but
good.
they keep hanging onto your pant leg. It's just.
That's very good. I like that. I
And
like that.
then, of course, if you close your eyes,
Yes.
think it's warm summer night. The windows are open. You're lying in bed, and you hear far off in the distance.
Oh my gosh, Nick, that was perfect. That was
You
really
know,
good.
I've
That
had a lot
was
of time to practice. A lonely childhood on cold winter days in Utah paid off. So,
see, totally came in handy, totally. Oh my gosh. And you do video games too. Is there a difference for you, like animation video games? I know they're different, but do you feel that's different when you're
oh,
doing it
very
as
much so.
well?
Video games are much more cinematic in their portrayal. They're
Mhm.
much more, they're not as broad. They're not as charactery, unless you get into some of the Adult Swim things. But even those are
Okay.
broader than games are.
Okay.
Usually in games, when you get to longer dialogue pieces, if it's not the
Mhm.
shout outs and the effort sounds and all that, the action play,
Right.
it's usually close ups or medium shots. They're never long shot. Every once in a while, you might get a long shot. I had one character where I was standing in a kind of an arena speaking to a bunch of people.
Okay.
So that was a little more projected, but that, again, that's going to come through the director. And it wasn't broad of character. It was just projected for the space that I was speaking in.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Understandably. So then, if there's somebody who wants to do video games specifically, you should be coached for video games. It's not like you can be like
Yeah.
even your regular voiceover to that. It's just a different. I know the delivery is different. I don't play video games. My son plays a ton, so I remember those in between those cinematic things. I'm like, those are wild. Like there's just they have a different quality to them.
Yeah. And not that I'm going to, put in a plug or anything.
Mhm.
I love teaching people, but I will tell you, Dave Fenoy is much better at the games than I am. So just
All right,
saying,
we'll write all
I
this
also
down.
believe
Yeah.
in truth as well. I love working with people. I can certainly teach you basics and stuff, but man,
Right.
Dave lives and breathes that stuff. He's
Oh
so
wow.
good at it, and he really is. And he's a nice guy. I got to work with Dave early on. Matter of fact, I helped produce his very first demo way back when. And
Oh.
I would love to say Dave has had the career he has today because of that demo that I
Ah,
produced.
I love it.
It wouldn't have mattered who produced it. He would have been just as good. I mean, it's just
I don't know. I've had bad producers on demos, so I think you had a hand in it. Yes.
well, let me put it this way. If that's the case, he made my job easy.
I love it. I love it. That's so great. So do you think that people who have no experience at all can start coaching and, obviously if it's something they want to do or whatever, video games are possible for anyone, no matter what level you're at, as long as you get the coaching and you understand the technique and
Sure. And
different
getting
things
the
like that.
opportunities, there are certain agencies that have really good relationships with the gaming producers.
Mhm.
One of the things that I would love to see change in gaming, which has been kind of a sticking point for me over the years, um, we don't get residuals on games. And yet it makes more
Oh.
money than film with
Yeah.
fewer titles.
Oh, wow. That's wild. Yeah, that would be
I
very good.
personally think it's just greed. They say, oh, well,
Mm,
we have a lot of upfront costs that are really high. And yeah, you also
mm.
have some games that in the first half day have sold over 700 million dollars.
I believe it. That's
So
crazy.
if it does that,
Mhm.
you don't think you could kick a little back to the guys,
Right.
and the women and the men who made this happen? And
Mhm.
to some degree, I mean, I'm not that I'm advocating for engineers and directors to get some money, but they should get residuals too, because their hard
Right.
work is part of the process.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not that I'm trying to plant a seed, but anybody at IATSE, anybody at the,
Yes. Yes.
just saying. The other side of voiceover, the producers we get to work with, I've literally, as a studio owner, I have called a session because I thought the person wasn't coming in prepared enough and making the client or the talent's life way more difficult. So I
Okay.
said, well, look, why don't we go ahead? We're going to cancel the session today. When you get all your ducks in a row, call. We can rebook and we'll get the talent back in and we'll just
Right.
call it even for the day.
Wow.
And the talent was absolutely appalled
Oh.
until 3 days later when they actually came back. And then they grabbed me before they left and they said, thank you. I said, no, no, no. You have to understand. Let me put it this way. You would have worked 5 times harder
Mm,
and gotten paid the same amount of money than coming in and
yes.
getting the job done the way it should have been.
That's
And
right.
if that job didn't come back, I know it's easy for me to say this, but I also turned down money for my studio.
Right.
I turned down money for you, but if they wanted to book in another studio, you could go anywhere you want. That's up to him.
Right.
And he already
Right.
booked you. So you already have the job. I'm just not
Mhm.
going to take that money because I can't get paid enough to go through that much hassle.
No, no, no. Comes a point where you're like, this is not gonna be good.
It's not
No.
worth the money. I mean,
So you are a producer, a director, a writer, I wrote down, right? You write. So does that mean I heard you say you
means
produce
I can't keep a
demos?
job. No.
You're diverse. So you create the demos and do you write the scripts as well for people? Do you still do this now, right? Doing demos or you
Yep.
still have time
Yep.
to do
I've
that?
over
Okay.
my career, I've probably produced over 3,500 demos.
Wow. Any
And I've
genre specific or
any and all. I
okay.
probably, I would say the ones that are toughest for me, believe it or not, are audiobook.
Okay.
Um, only because it's a very specific genre, and it's one I'm not particularly good at
Mm-hmm.
because of the dyslexia. I don't like doing audiobooks. It's a slog. It's a
It's
lot of
not my
work.
thing. No, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
I'm too
A
lazy to work. That's why
I
the other
bet
stuff I do is so great.
I want it quick. I want, like, instant gratification.
There you go. There you go.
Give me a commercial. Come on, let's go. So I'm gonna ask you my signature question I have, and it's,
Sure.
can you share, if you have an answer to this, but I'm sure you do. Can
I
you
do. I may actually have 2.
you do? You might. All right. So can you share a moment in your life or career when you had to show resilience or experience divine intervention, or you had to pivot in, like, a major way?
Yes, actually 2 come to mind.
Oh, see?
Um, yes,
You
I've
were
been around
right.
long enough, I got more than that, but no. One is my friend John Cosby, who owns Ground Crew Studios, has always paid me the ultimate compliment. And he said, he always uses me as an example in a session we were doing where the client was not getting what they wanted. And when they had the talk back off, they said, I don't think Nick is getting this.
Oh,
Do you have anybody else in mind? And so John said, no, he can do this. Just you're not asking him the right questions. So John gets back on the line. He says, Nick, how about if we, let's do a take, an alt take. So I said, great. Okay. So we're kind of setting the slate clean. We're not going to build off anything we've done so far. And he says, and think about blah, 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 and this and that. I said, oh, cool. Boom. We were done.
oh,
And he said,
wow.
I did ask a couple questions of the client saying, okay, so is this basically they didn't speak voiceover.
Mm,
And that's the thing is, when you have a great director, they know exactly how to articulate what you need to know to give them what they're asking for. And I've been complimented many times by directors saying, wow, you're just so directable. And I said, okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Just understand, I'm merely an instrument to be played. It's your
mhm.
job to hit the notes.
Yes.
It's my job to be in tune. So you need to
True.
also realize how much you are a part of making this happen. So I thank
Mm,
you as
that's
well.
true.
And
Very true.
so John says, you took a bad situation and you knew something was going on because as soon as you know that the client is talking to the engineer with no talkback on, something's going on.
Yes.
But the other one was when I was flown to San Francisco long before ISDN and electronic stuff. They flew me to San Francisco for Bank of America. And it was 2 TV spots, 14 seconds a copy, exact same piece. I just had to record it once. They're going to slug it into the other spot. 76 takes later,
Oh my
I'm
god.
sitting there thinking, oh my God, what am I
Oh
not
my
getting? What am I not getting? What am I getting?
oh
And
my god.
the director finally says, okay, Nick, you know what? I think we got what we need. I've got a runner coming over from the agency
Oh
with
my god.
the contracts. Can I buy you lunch while we're waiting? And I'm thinking, what is this, a last meal? Uh, So lunch
Oh,
arrives. The director says, hey, I got to call New York. Why don't you and, the engineer head on up to the break room and I'll be right up in a few minutes. It's okay. So as we're going upstairs, the engineer says, man, great job. I'm going,
and you're like,
great job. 76 takes. He goes, oh, no, you don't get it. They normally go triple digits.
are
I go, what?
you
Oh, they're going to
kidding?
make sure they have every possible permutation of that
Oh my
script in the
god.
can. They're not going to fly you back up here for a pickup.
Oh my
I thought,
god.
well, I wish I'd have known that before I beat myself up in the booth.
I was just gonna say
Like,
that. By the time you get there, it's like, how do you keep your brain in the fact that you're just doing it and without it coming out in your voice? Like, what is happening?
yeah,
That's terrifying.
I did ask for a squeegee so that I could scrape the gray matter off the window in the booth from when my brain exploded.
I don't know how. Nick, I don't know how you did it. I might have been like, you know what? That's it.
But it was a learning experience because I quickly learned one thing. When you're in a booth, if you see anybody on the other side of the window going, don't think it's about us. I mean, as actors, we always think it's about us.
Of course,
And on the
of
other side
course.
of the glass, what you see, what's being said is, who puts mustard on a tuna sandwich? This is stupid. It's like,
It's
nothing to do
true.
with you.
It's
Unless you're the
true.
one to put the mustard on the tuna sandwich, then you got some talking. You
I
got some
love it.
explaining to do.
I love it. Oh my gosh, that is just unbelievable. So, before I ask for your quote, because that's our next thing, I really want to know a quick version of the day in the life of Nick Omana. Like, what's a do you have a typical day, number one? And if,
Yeah.
if not.
I get up, I work, I go to bed. No, no, I actually, I get up pretty much most mornings. I'm normally up between 4:30 and 5. I don't set an alarm. Now, just don't try and reach me after about 9 o'clock because
Yeah, I don't blame
probably
you.
not going to answer.
Yes.
But I like getting my day started early because if I have East Coast clients and they want to get started at 9 a.m., that's 6. That still gives me an hour, hour and a half jump on the day. So
Yeah.
I usually come downstairs. I've got a bike that I work out on. I have some weights that I lift and try and stay in shape. And just so you know, round is a shape.
You're funny.
Uh, so, for a guy, my doctor always says, for a guy that's not in really good shape, you're in really good shape. So,
It's great.
but so then I'll go upstairs, I take my shower and get ready for the day. I come downstairs. I usually try to get through emails quickly to see what I've got. There's a rhythm to the day so that by 7 o'clock, I'm usually ready to, I have meetings that I have with people I'm working with. I've got, one-on-ones, I've got auditions, I've got jobs, workshops, various things that I'm doing throughout the day. And also time to do these, which I have little cards that I reach out to potential
Nice.
clients. And I
Nice.
believe in snail mail because everybody's
Yes.
doing email, and email is wonderful. It's free, it's
Yes.
fast, it's easy. It's also clogging up my email. I just spent Saturday going through
Oh.
843 emails
Oh.
that accumulated over the week because I was too busy to go through and deal with every single one of them. So I'll take care of that. Okay, this is important, important,
Yes.
important. This I'll deal with and look at later. So I
Yeah.
spent 2.5 hours on Saturday morning going through all that stuff.
Right.
So here,
It's great.
if I send this to somebody and they get it, and then they get an email from it, they go, "Oh, Nick Omana, I
I
know
love
that name."
it.
It doesn't get swiped.
I love that, and that's for potential clients, not just clients you have already. That's a great idea. I like that. Mhm. Yeah.
It's tough to find physical addresses anymore. The hardest thing, I used to do a
True.
lot of you know prospecting by picking up the phone and
Right.
dialing for dollars, as we used to call it.
Yes.
And you'd get a receptionist. You'd say, "Hey, my name is Nick Omana. I do voiceover, and I was just wondering who in your company handles any kind of advertising, marketing, training, any of that kind of stuff." "Oh, that would be so and so." "Oh, great. Would you mind putting me through to their office?" And you'd be able to leave a message or talk directly to them.
Right.
Now, if you know your party's extension, I
I
don't know. That's why I'm
know.
calling.
I
I want to talk to a
know.
person.
I know. And you know what? And I don't know if it's because people might be working from home now or whatever, so you don't get like the specific. I can't even get through to a doctor's office, and I'm texting. Hello, I left a message 3 days ago, and now they're texting me back. I'm like, what is
Call
up?
911.
What is happening?
I can't.
Right?
I'm dead.
You just killed me. What's happening? Yeah, that's crazy. So that's wonderful. So you do that, and then and then you're done by, if you can be, by a certain time of day, if you can be, and that's
Yeah. I
it.
usually,
Depending on what's
I
happening.
if I'm teaching a class and
Mm.
it's a West Coast, oftentimes we'll go 6 to 9 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'm
Yeah.
done by 9 and in bed by 9:15.
I
So
don't blame you. I don't blame. I don't blame you. It's
I
like in
love
the
you
middle
all.
of
It's been
that.
a pleasure working with you. Got to go. Bye.
You're like half got pajamas on. Don't lie. You got pajamas on the
That's
bottom.
right.
I'm dreaming of my bed in the meantime. Like I got to go to bed. Yeah,
See the
it's
little
true.
Z's coming off the top of my head.
Yes. Yes.
Uh, So yeah, but it's
Right.
it's it's a lot of fun. Yeah, that's kind of a typical day,
Yeah.
and I will. I've taken to sous vide, which I love because
Oh,
I can take frozen stuff. I'll prep, meals, and it'll be in the little vacuum sealed bag, and
nice.
I'll drop it in the sous vide and let it go for hours, and then all of a sudden I go, "Oh, dinner's ready,"
Oh,
um,
nice. That's
and
very
it's hot
nice.
and it's perfect, and it's like
I
I love
love
it.
it. I love it. I love it. That is perfect. Is there anything I didn't ask you though that you want to share that I didn't touch on?
Um. No, I think you were rather thorough.
I was a good
I think
stalker.
if I can't think of anything that I would know about me that I haven't already divulged.
I love it. I love it. Then would you share your favorite quote or mantra or wherever,
Yes,
whatever?
actually, one that I'm going to just really quickly. I don't know
Yeah.
if you know who Sahil Bloom is.
No.
Sahil Bloom
Mm-mm.
is he's kind of a thought leader, an emerging thought leader, and he's written a book and it's really kind of cool. But this is something he just put up the other day. He puts out these. He calls it the Curiosity Chronicles, and you can subscribe to that. I would highly suggest if you don't know him, you should check him out. A lot of the stuff he says really resonates with me, but this is one that I really love, and I'll just really condense it down very quickly. It says, if he ever feels if he feels stuck, he always sits there and he thinks about it. He says, the question he asks himself is, if an outside observer watched me for a week, how serious would they say I am about achieving my goals? And if you think about it, it's easy to convince yourself that that we're fulfilling our responsibilities and that we're doing what's necessary to build the life we want, but that we're showing up with the energy and focus on a daily basis. But what would an unbiased observer see? Would they see consistency, discipline, and courage? Or would they see avoidance, fear, and distraction? There are two types of priorities in life: the priorities that you say you have, and the priorities your actions show you have. And he said, I call that the gap. The gap is the say do gap, what I say and what I do. And at the very bottom, he says, um, what would an outside observer say about how serious you are about your goals? Don't tell me your priorities, show me them. The answer is found in the action. So that means then I turn to this is one that I love to do. This is a real simple little thing. Where is the help I need? If you take the first letter of each one of these words, where is the help I need?
Where is the help I need? It says,
When you take each one of those together, spells out the word within.
I love that.
Yeah, it's true. All of it. Everything you need, all your happiness, all your
Mm-hmm.
love, all your generosity, it comes from within you.
Yes.
It may show
Yes.
externally, it may affect things externally, but the
Mm-hmm.
answers are not external to you. They're all in there waiting to be released and unlocked. And
Right.
you just need to take the time to sit quietly enough. You know,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I've found I have a weird thing that happens to me. Animals come to me.
Oh.
I had a bird fly onto. When we're done, I'll send you the video of this bird. It was out on the
Yeah.
wire across the way from our house, and
Oh.
Kathy said, "Come take a look at this bird." And I go, "Oh, that's a little, that's a parrot."
Oh.
And so I sat there and I called to it. It flew over and landed on the railing, and I thought, "Oh, I'm going to go get a box so I can, take it someplace where to a rescue." And I came
Right.
back and it was gone. And I go,
Mhm.
oh, well, it was over on the railing at the next door neighbors. And I went, oh. So I called him. He flew over and landed on my shoulder and I couldn't get him off. He kept preening my beard. And, same thing, cats. I'll sit there and I'll look at them
Oh
and I
my
don't
gosh.
approach them. I just sit there and I'll kind of look at them and I'll make little noises and I'll move my hand. And eventually they come to me. Horses. I
Wow.
mean, I don't know what it is, but I try not to push things.
Mm.
I take my time and I let
Right.
them come to me.
Right.
And they always do when they know that it's safe and they know they can trust you and
Mm-hmm.
you do nothing to betray that,
Right.
they just come. And
Yeah.
it's funny. I've found that with people in my life too. The ones you pursue are the ones that run fastest.
That's true. That's true. Yes.
The ones
Yes.
that you just sit there and put it out there. And so when I approach people, I never go looking for work.
Mm-hmm.
I go offering to help. What can I do to
Right.
solve a problem you have? What can I do to help you? My job is to be a problem solver.
Mm.
And the real job is looking for work.
Right. Right. Right.
When you're successful with that, you get to do voiceover.
Right.
But always offer to help, always offer to be the problem solver, always offer to make their lives easier and better.
Right. That's
And when you
wonderful.
show them that you can, they love you and they trust you for it. So
Yeah.
that's all.
Oh my God. That's a gift. That really is a gift. That is really great.
I'm going to credit my mom with that because she was really
Ah.
good at that kind of stuff.
Ah. That's great.
Not that my dad was bad at it either, but my mom had it down pat.
She had it. She had it going on. She had it going on.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. All day long.
I love it. So tell us where we can find you if people want to reach out to you.
You can always shoot me a quick email. It may take me months to get back to you. No, hopefully I don't get
No,
rid of it
you're
in the
good.
process. No. Yeah, just nick at
Yes.
nickomana.com. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on LinkedIn. Just most everything is just Nick Omana. Now on LinkedIn, funny enough, it's NAD nod and then Nick in quotes Omana.
Okay.
Because I'm going to tell you something I bet a lot of people don't know.
What?
Nick is not my given name.
What is it?
So there you go. This is where nod comes in, or actually Nick is the in quotes, because nod is short for Nader. It's a Persian
Oh.
name. My dad was Persian, and it's a very, very common Persian name, but everybody would always pronounce it Nader because that's how it's spelled.
Right.
And you'd say, eighth grade, science class, Mrs. Freeman, Nader Omana? No, Nader, not here. No, I'm here. I mean, Nader's fine. Nader's fine. Whatever. So, and then of course that got shortened to Nod. And then when I first started doing voiceover and I'd slate, it would be Not Omana. And they go, who? What? Not a what?
No.
Nada. Nothing? What? No.
So they think your last
no.
name is Mana,
Nick.
and you're like, no.
Yeah, that's right. He's not bread. Not a mana.
That's it. I love
or no
it.
bread. He's no bread. So yeah. But yeah.
So you came up with Nick. You came up with Nick.
as a tribute to my grandfather, my maternal grandfather, who was great.
Okay.
So
Nice.
So Nick the Greek, I figured, but his name was not Nick anyway. Long story, but I figured Nick was close enough.
Before we go, I want to give a shout out to my daughter, Victoria Lynn Purdy, because she created the theme song and sang Time to Elevate theme song. And I so appreciate you, Nick. This was so wonderful. I'm so happy.
What? I knew it was going to be fun. I had no idea it was going to be this much fun.
Me too. I knew it was going to be this much fun with you. I so appreciate it. And I thank you. And I will put all your links in the show notes so people can find you and stalk you like I did. Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you so much. This has been a blast. I hope we can do it again sometime before too long.
Yes, I would love to. All right.
Cool.
Life gets tough, and I know it's hard to cope with the unknown. For all of us, I know it'd be easy if we were perfect, but we're not. So we go to find our fate, to find our hope. It all begins with looking up. It all begins with you. It's time to